I have an institutional note out this morning on the president's trip to the Middle East, and it's actually titled. I think we'll have something up later today for the public site, but it's called Donald of Arabia. Sort of a takeoff on the Lawrence of Arabia movie, and basically the point is his successful trip to Saudi Arabia and also Israel really raises the risk for the Iran nuclear deal and then for oil markets. And as everyone knows, when the Iran nuclear deal was done, it essentially lifted sanctions on Iran in a whole host of areas. But the big one, which is a huge revenue raiser for them, is oil exports. And Iran has added about 1 million barrels a day in exports, mainly to European countries, some South Korea, some Japan. But if the U.S. sanctions were to be reinstated, that would put that 1 million barrels a day at risk, and you'd see a big price spike there. Iran's part of OPEC, but the other OPEC members might like that type of a development. But the rhetoric in Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia is an arch enemy of Iran. Many of the countries that came to that summit are also part of the anti-Iran coalition. The president, had some really harsh words for them in his remarks. As everybody knows, he's called the Iran deal the worst deal ever. And the foreign policy community in Washington and sort of generally, the conventional wisdom is that the Iran deal will survive the Trump administration. I'm talking to people inside the White House and the administration, and they tell me it is definitely not a settled matter. Yeah. In fact, the president launched a review of the policy in April, and Secretary Tillerson said even on this trip when briefing reporters aboard Air Force One that the policy is still under review. So I would caution people to take the view that this is a done deal, that there's nothing that the administration will do here, and Iran is not helping matters with their ballistic missile testing program. It was revealed this week by their Revolutionary Guards commander that they built a third underground ballistic missile facility, underground, because they're trying to keep it away from potential bombing by the U.S. and Israel and others. But that's very disruptive in the region. The other thing I point out is, when there's troublemaking in the Gulf, like there's some incident involving an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy ship with a U.S. warship, the Obama administration looked the other way because they were trying to preserve the Iran nuclear deal. Trump is not going to do that. And so one of these incidents, which seem minor, to us, could be a catalyst to undo the deal. Sure. And, so all bets are off if something like that happens. So I think, as you look at the I think a North Korea thing is probably unlikely, but of all the geopolitical things out there for oil markets, I think the Iran deal is pretty high. Venezuela is obviously another one, and so those, I would rank those two as really the highest on the list.